Hey guys, Luton here. So today we're talking about something I've waited for quite some time, pretty much basically since the release of Tanoa. That is sharks in ARMA. This is Feint's shark mod, and it was originally tabled kind of back in April, and it's just been updated yesterday. It is now working. You now have sharks in the game. They can kill you. You can kill them. It's awesome. It's still not quite what I expected, which I will explain, but it's in the game. You can have sharks. You can make shark missions now where you have, like, you know, something underwater, gotta get it, shark's gonna kill you. You can have just sharks in and around your diving missions in general. You know, let me just very briefly say one thing which needs to be done with ARMA 3, and maybe it won't happen in ARMA 3 because this game's been out for quite some time. Maybe it will only happen when we eventually get to ARMA 4, and maybe I will start talking about that pretty soon in terms of what I want to see, what I might want to see. You guys can throw down some thoughts about that below. But basically, one thing which needs an overhaul in this game is underwater. Diving mechanics, underwater interactions, all this kind of stuff. It needs a big overhaul. They've tabled other stuff this year for like tanks and things like this. Look, there's a lot of tanks. There's a lot of tanks that are modded. It's cool to have some new tanks in the same way that we had the jets in, but really what needs a massive overhaul, people love doing the underwater missions. Actually, I say people love doing the underwater missions. Not everybody loves doing underwater missions, but, you know, underwater missions are cool. They offer something quite different. They offer different mechanics. We have things like underwater radios modded in now, so it does add to the diversity of the game, and it's a shame that it's quite limited. It's quite limited in terms of what you can actually do in underwater missions by default, and it would be great for them to add some more variation there. Now, when it comes to the sharks, what do the shark functionality bring to the game? So, quite interestingly, the way that the Feint has approached the shark mod in the game is that the sharks are not like outright crazy killing machines which just seek to slaughter everything that they see. They've actually tried to implement sharks in a fairly realistic way, in that the sharks won't naturally target you. They won't see you and automatically make a beeline to you. They will they'll only hunt a person. So what that means is that the sharks are only going to attack you when there isn't another animal that they can eat within 50 meters. So that means they're going to be looking for salema, tuna, mullet, and mackerel fish. Most of the time you can actually just swim around and enjoy being around the sharks. I say enjoy, they are pretty terrifying. But nonetheless, they won't naturally go for you if there is other food in the area. That's quite interesting because the way that this mod has been approached is almost from an ethical point of view, in trying to demonstrate that sharks are not out and out crazy killing machines which just literally hunting for people. You know, the sharks in real life, they're not Jaws, okay? They don't just kill for the sake of killing. They usually kill people because it's a case of mistaken identity, or they are desperate for food. And I think that's what they're trying to sort of represent here. You know, I think there's a whole discussion to be had about that in terms of, you know, do we need to really bring ethics into video games? I think, you know, you can highlight things and say, look, this is cool. We've seen this with other games. There's other games which bring ethics and moral issues in, and that can be interesting in and of itself, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be another party of people who say this shouldn't have any place in games. We don't care. We're just having fun with games. You know what? You can take it any way you like. You know, that's something which they've tried to highlight a little bit with this mod, but at the end of the day, it's still just sharks in the game. You don't have to think about it at all if you don't want to. But I think it's cool that they tried to make a sort of token gesture towards that and said, look, we're not going to make these guys out to be sort of crazy psycho killing machines. We're trying to represent sort of how sharks are. But that in itself actually adds another dynamic to the way the sharks work, which is that because they sometimes will go for other food, and you'll see them do this, you'll see them actually attack other fish, and there'll be blood in the water when they attack the other fish. Arguably a little bit too much blood for a small fish, but nonetheless. You'll see them attacking other fish. Now the thing is, you could be swimming around them and they will ignore you, but then they can just turn on you in an instant. And when they turn on you, they attack pretty quickly. They'll just snap around and they'll bang, straight go for you. So you don't always know when they're going to go for you. Now the only thing that I think is actually missing from this is that if you shoot the shark, they don't immediately become aggressive. Now again, I would imagine that most sharks would either swim away or turn to attack you, you know, fight or flight, like most animals. Now that's not what happens. They tend to just carry on with their standard course of business. Now look, I don't know how difficult it is to actually, you know, get that set into the mod, so, you know, fair's fair. They've built sharks into the game. We have sharks. Let's give a lot of credence to that. But I think that's pretty much the only thing that I would like to see change, which is that if you shoot them, they either swim away or they come straight for you to attack you. Those two things. Because obviously that would add a lot of you know, interest and a lot of fear for the person. Like, you know, you don't know whether they're going to come for you or not, especially if there's 3 or 4 more. Also, the only other thing that I'll tap into that, I guess it's a separate thing, but they tie together, which is that you don't see the kind of frenzy, you know. So when there's blood in the water, you don't see frenzying from other sharks, so they don't home in on it. It would be good, like, that if a shark was attacking a player, the other sharks kind of picked up on that. Again, I don't know how feasible that is, but that would be really cool. Imagine that, like, you start shooting a shark, it gets angry, that shark comes for you, and then even if you manage to kill that shark, like 3 others are coming in on you, and they go crazy. And then maybe once they have attacked you, they get that kind of frenzy going on, blood in the water, they start attacking other people nearby. Now, again, maybe I'm taking it a little far in terms of, you know, maybe you know, the sort of misrepresentation of sharks, which I think they've tried very hard to avoid in this mod. So, like, fair's fair. But, you know, that would be a cool mechanic. That would be great to see. Now, the only other thing is that, you know, they're very much ambient, like most animals in the game. They're ambient. You can't control them in Zeus. You can't sort of dictate to them, hey, go over here, attack this person. That would be a fun feature, obviously, from my point of view, somebody who does a lot of Zeus and likes to control the elements in the game and sort of direct them to create scenarios for players. But the shark mod in and of itself enables you to pretty much do that to a degree. If you put sharks in and around an object underwater and there's players coming into that area, chances are they are going to get attacked. It's very likely that the sharks will at some point turn on some of those players, and again, the fact that you don't know when it's going to happen is a slight fear element. But you see, the reason why I say it would be great that if you were to attack sharks, or you start shooting at a shark, that the other sharks were to become aggressive or something like this, is that, you know, if players are coming into an area and they start to see sharks, there's not a lot of reason why they shouldn't just immediately kill all the sharks, because they'll be like, oh my god guys, there's sharks, let's shoot them before they attack us. Bang bang bang, all the sharks are dead. I can see that happening on missions. So basically, you would almost have to, because it doesn't exist already in the game, you'd almost have to have like a kind of gentleman's sportsman like agreement before you begin a mission. Like, look, we know the sharks don't actually get aggressive, we know the sharks don't actually come to attack you, so suspend your disbelief and just say, look, if you shoot the sharks, they're going to get aggressive, so don't shoot the sharks unless they come to attack you first. That's almost the only way you're going to really make that work in terms of a mission, and it's a shame because it does mean that you kind of have to, you know, sort of have an understanding before you start the mission, like, look, I know it doesn't work like this, so we're just going to have to pretend, you know. And it's like, so that's kind of a shame. But, you know, in terms of just having an ambient animal which could potentially attack you in the game, I think that's pretty awesome. And in fact, it would be awesome to see that happen a little bit more in terms of ambient animals, like other risks. And I think as well, this mod is going to play well on different, you know, again, my hatred of ARMA Life. I don't really hate ARMA Life, but it's not my thing. But I think that this will play well in stuff like ARMA Life. For, you know, standard ARMA missions, it's going to have limited functionality. It's only going to work really on diving missions, which, as we know, because of the other limited abilities you have in diving in general in this game and underwater stuff, therefore it's going to still be limited. But hey, you know, it's something cool, it's something new. It's nice that new things like this are still being developed at this stage into the game, and, you know, great job by Feint. If you haven't seen some of Feint's mods, guys, there's some other stuff on the Steam Workshop. I've linked that down below. You may as well go and have a little look at that. There's some other cool stuff in there. People like the paddle mod, for example, and things like this. But that's the shark mod, guys. It's pretty cool. Tell me what you think. Link for it is down below in the Steam Workshop if you want to check it out. Just throw some stuff in the editor. Go check it for yourself. See how you get on with it. But I like this very much. I'll probably do some little bits and pieces with this. It's another cool element. It's another tool in the box for mission making, and that can only be a really good thing. So thanks to Feint for bringing this into the game. And the last thing I'll say is that, yet again, you know, we've had this discussion a million times, and of course, you know, BI can only provide so much stuff, but, you know, BI, please, I really want to see an overhaul of underwater things, whether that means bringing in new stuff, whether that means overhauling what's already there, you know, creating some interaction for underwater elements in terms of being able to destroy stuff underwater, sabotage things, you know, any of this kind of stuff would be supremely welcomed. It's great that this has been modded into the game, but quite honestly, when Tanoa came in, I really thought that this might have been in the game already. It's taken a while for this to appear, but it's a shame that this wasn't in at the release of Tanoa. Thanks for watching, guys, as always. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, drop a little like down below, always helps me out. I'll see you next time for some more ARMA 3.